So here we are for the final game of Acra Lucra, and this time we got two expert panelists. You may remember at the end of the previous game, all ready to take us into this battle in which the Pergamines take on my Mithraditic army. And let's have a quick look and see how this is going to set up. So look, you've got the Pergamene tucked in a corner really. A lot of spearmen, a few pikemen, you've got cavalry, some cavalry and light horse over there. Here's my small cavalry, probably over to that side. You've got my cataphracts on this end. Another side chariot kind of coming up next to them. Yep, that's where the funny light horse are. That's, I think, must be a mix of cataphracts and cavalry. A few light horse in front of them. And then it's spears and pikemen. And that's clearly an ambush. And this army can have an elephant. So I'm guessing it's got an elephant in there as well. And what I'm trying to do is I'm expecting the battle to kind of be fought between those two bits of terrain. So the other army will, Pergamines will sort of swing out over there across that line. And all my heavy troops will kind of slam into them and do as much damage as they can, whilst I try and keep the enemy cavalry occupied. I've got the side chariots in the middle to threaten them. I've got the Thracians, got the bowmen in there. They're probably going to go elephant finding. And my cavalry, just as long as that lot gets kept out of the way, that's probably all good. And the cataphracts can do that sort of wingman thing. Would be great to have them in the middle, but being a wingman and keeping these guys out of the way is not too bad at all, really. Yeah, as you can see, there is my my small cavalry command. It's trying to pin these guys in, give them an interesting choice for the opposition. Do you chase the cataphracts, in which case my cavalry will have your flank? Do you chase my cavalry? You might not catch them. That frees up the cataphracts to go into the middle, or it frees up the cataphracts to attract these guys as well. So giving them really too many options and starting to attract their command and control. The chariot's also lurking there should it be needed. So here's my army lurching forward in a nice solid line, and a bit of a gap in the middle through which the chariot's ready. I've got my cavalry reserve behind. The enemy haven't really started yet. This is my first turn, so you can see they're already pretty well pinned into that corner. I've got the spearmen, enemy spearmen there. I'm happy for my legionaries to go into them. I'm happy for my pikemen to go into them. There's not too many pikemen there in that mix. The chariot's really going to cause some distraction. A couple of light horse out front as well. Hopefully we can distract them and get some pips spent on them, and just throw the spearmen, the pikemen into that line of cavalry and cataphracts, and then get the Galatians moving into take on the infantry, and then possibly even burst through and try and get to that camp area. But the rest of it, I'm probably outmatching them. So let's have a look at the Pergamene list. What have we got here? We've got some pike. We've got a lot of spearmen. It's pretty spear heavy. 2 lightfoot javelin, medium cavalry kind of reserve, another lightfoot. The elephant, the medium spear are obviously written this list knowing they were in the ambush. No surprise there. And then actually the way the rest of that looks like it's set up, you've got a couple of cavalry and light horse. That's probably the outrider command. And then you've got a mix of cataphracts and heavy cavalry impact who are sat there. At the moment, they're sat in the terrain, anchoring the flank of that solid infantry line. Brilliant generals to command all the clever stuff. 2, I suspect they're both ordinary generals on the other bit of it. So it's sort of similar to mine, but a lot more spearmen. But it doesn't have the impact and the impetuous guys that my army does. And it does, of course, have an elephant. So yeah, looking at that, these may look like cavalry, but I think some of them are cataphracts. And these guys over there, that must be that small command with just cavalry. So let's kind of flick through and see what's coming up next. So ta-da, there's the elephant surrounded by the spearmen. That's ideal for my Thracians and bowmen. I think my bowmen are going to probably take one for the team and let the Thracians have a go at both of those spearmen. And already that kind of line is going to need to start to form. Is it even going to fit though? Actually, can my Thracians engage them? And if the Thracians get into the spearmen, that's ideal really, and possibly sort of draw those guys forward. So over here, this is pretty cool. My chariot's threatening to charge the cavalry. That's drawn out some light horse. There's some more light horse come out there to engage my own, and again try and stop that other side chariot. I love it when I see light horse in between the two lines. There's always the possibility they get trapped, they cause trouble. It's very, very difficult to extract them. They can go through the cavalry here, but it's always possible. And here it looks like that cavalry unit have decided, that cavalry command has decided to chase my cavalry. So my guys were going to be falling back. Allows the cataphracts to either pile into the center or join in and try and put them. But as long as those guys are over there, rather than they're a long way from where the battle's going to be decided, way over on this other side of it. So I'm quite happy for them there. So here we go. We've caught this light horse. It's decided to stand rather than leave a big old gap and let my chariots and cavalry come through. And we're just engaging it. I think the chariots have moved up to an overlap. Is that possible? I'm not sure they contribute to an overlap. Oh, no, you can't. They can't be supported by people in overlap, but that's potentially another one. And here, light infantry have jumped out, stopped this guy evading, and they've been hit by spearmen. So that's probably going to be the end of them. And that's an easy 4 points with a bit of luck before the game's really started. Leaves this flank a little bit thin. And here we go. The elephants step forward. It's made a charge. It may well have gone long or something like that. But that spearman couldn't quite reach. So they've gone in, headless elephant, I'm afraid. But they've gone in against overlap against the bowmen and the Thracians, which is kind of what I want, really. Couldn't be much better for that. And then the rest of my line is ready just to pile into that as a load of spearmen. The bowmen will take one for the team, but there's some light infantry javelin in reserve should they fall over against the crushing power of the headless elephant. Obviously, nobody packed some super glue there. And then over on the other side, my side chariot's kind of gone forward, and because they're so frightening, they've been attacked by two phalanxes and destroyed, blown up and wiped out there. And honestly, the side chariot's just an easy loss for me. It doesn't count as any losses, but getting two pike units out of line is great. That's well worth that investment in 3 points. My line is still solid. It's all about keeping a solid line. I can attack those. There might be the possibility of ending some overlaps, but it's going to be hard now for them to spend the pips to align again just to chase something. Really, side chariots, I always say, just stand there and take them. Likelihood is they're going to go pop. They're not going to do anything too scary. Again, this cavalry unit, 2 cavalry and 2 light horse chasing 1 cavalry and 2 light horse. So I'm kind of winning and keeping this sort of stuff out the game. On balance, it's keeping 2 of their strike troops there. And here's the rest of the battle. So again, there's only a lot less stuff really to try and put pressure on this flank because 4 of them have been distracted and are chasing way over the other side of the table. The cataphracts haven't started yet. They probably don't fancy fighting the pikemen. My spearmen can probably get back into it. The side chariot's still a potential threat. And this formation has now been broken up into all sorts of little bits as well, making ordinary general three groups, the cataphracts and the 2 cavalry, a bit tricky for them to keep going as well. So, and again, that sort of distraction of the line. So yet more stuff running into space, running into distance. We've talked about that before. And look, here the line is well in. It's all gone in. Everything's piled in. Pikemen, Galatians, you've got the imitation legionaries. They're all, ideal to go into spearmen. Pretty much everything there is better than spearmen. And the 2 pikemen units have got themselves in a bit of a pickle. We're fighting them in incomplete formation. We're still pinning the cavalry, so there's not a lot to go into the flanks of mine. The side chariots having a bit of a play with some heavy cavalry there as well. But really, it's all about that big scrimmage over on the right-hand side of the screen there. And can my guys punch a way through before anything else happens? And let's have a look. Looks like the headless elephant has gone through. That means he's suddenly fighting javelin arm light foot. The bowmen have taken 1 for the team. Good for them. The rest of it's all in. I can't see any markers there at the moment. So this might be before we start rolling dice, or it might be, let's have a look. It might be that the markers are all on the other side. And let's see what you can see here. Yeah. So, yep, that's it's starting to be a few bits and pieces appear. But the important thing is that funny legions into spearmen, great. Spearmen and spearmen, happy with that as well. But because of this funny formation, the way the pikemen have got themselves confused, there's actually an overlap there for the Galatians because of the way that confirmation works. The pikemen fight pikemen, Galatians fight the other one. That middle Galatian unit isn't fighting anyone. It's an overlap to 2 pike units. Sorry, Galatian unit, pike unit, which is great. And again, you can see that spearmen has started taking hits. This one's going to have to come in, but he could be mugged soon. Here, I've nearly run out of table, but big deal. I could evade all of these off table, and it wouldn't be the end of the world if it keeps those out. And the rest of the cavalry is just sort of milling around. Yep, they've got some of my cataphracts in the flank, but they're a long way from anything that's going to happen. And I've got enough stuff there just to stop them getting involved with that line of infantry scrimmage, which is where the game is probably going to be won and lost. So, just rely on the better armor, see if they can survive, but not much in the way of losses on this side of the table so far that we're looking at, even if stuff starts to go particularly wrong. So here we go. The important thing, still pretty much no hit markers. Maybe there's one over on the left-hand side, a little green shield. looks like a few. Looks like my opponents had to get some extra markers out there. Those glass ones to do it. And let's look from the top. Yeah, you can see there's some green, must be ones. There's some oranges, probably twos. A lot of damage. There's a little bit of damage onto my guys, but you can see big hole. The Galatians have now burst through it. They're starting to roll people up. There's other things starting to roll people up. You can see massive holes appearing in the enemy line. That elephant appears to have gone. My Thracians around the back. So this is actually looking like that whole line that was solid infantry there has just been kind of wiped out. And this is, as we said, where the game is to be won and lost. And it looks like it has been won and lost, because I can see from flicking over the screen, there aren't any more photos here to take. So this must be the point at which 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of heavy infantry losses, plus a few other bits and pieces. Take out the elephants, take out both those spearmen on the flank, and the game is won for Mithradates against Pergamon in Game 6 of Acrolucra.
Hello and welcome to the latest Madaxeman.com Army List ADLG podcast, in which I'm joined by Rick